Hi, this is Kamera. Points in the Bible, day number 102, 1 King chapter 1 and 2. King David is old. King David, in order to keep warm, they had to get him a young, beautiful virgin. No sexual action, just skin to skin contact to help keep him warm. Meanwhile, his son Adonai, who happens to be the oldest, feels like he's going to make himself king. He talks though with Joab and who was the commander of the Israel army, and he talks it over with Abiathar, who is the high priest. They totally support him, and so he's going to anoint him. He's having a sacrificial offering. He has this big feast with his brothers. He invited all his brothers except for Solomon. Solomon was not invited. Neither was Zadok the priest. Neither was Nathan the prophet, and Benaiah, who is also yeah, he's one of the army commanders as well, and he they have this thing. He named himself as king. Nathan, Nathan, he goes to Bathsheba, let her know what was going on. Now, this is the thing. First of all, Joab, Abiathar, Adonijah, they knew that Solomon was supposed to be anointed king. But Adonijah, he felt entitled. And this is where you have to be careful. Entitlement. Even leaders, when they feel like their child or a certain person who they happen to like uh, is placed in a position where that's not what God said. He told you who he wanted in position, but you feel like you want to do what you want to do. And you're feeling entitled. Even I've seen where even kids feel like they should be entitled to their parents. No, it don't work that way. No, it's whoever God say is supposed to be in that position. And so Adonijah, he did his thing, and he had supporters of high people. Nathan goes and he tells Bathsheba she needs to speak up. Do you know what Adonijah is doing? If he does this and David dies, you and your son are going to get killed. He's going to kill you guys off. So he tells her what to do. She goes and does what Nathan says. She reminded David what he swore, told him what Adonijah was doing. Nathan comes in and backs up, reminds him that, King Solomon is supposed to be the next king, whatever. David immediately puts things into action. He told Zadok and him and Nathan to go and anoint Solomon as king of Israel and Judah. Place him on the king's mule and blow the trumpet and let everyone know, long live King Solomon. Bring him back and place him on King David's throne. And everyone is excited with all of this going on. They did what they were supposed to do. Everybody's excited. I mean, it was loud sounding and everything. And so I love the way David made sure he was very thorough in that. I love the fact that God allowed them to take action when they did. When God say it's supposed to be a way, when God opened a door, can nobody close it? When God closed the door, can nobody close it? You see it right there with that situation right there. Solomon is supposed to be the next king. During the celebration, they're like, oh my God, what's all this noise, right? So a messenger comes and tells them what is going on. And everybody's scared now. You even had Adonijah who ran into the tent and grabbed on hold of the horns of the altar. And word gets back to Solomon that Adonijah not leaving there because he don't want to be killed. And so Solomon says, if you just do right, we won't have no problem. And so he went and bowed to his brother, and they separated in peace. We need to be careful trying to do things our way. That's the only thing I'm saying. Be careful of that. Adonijah and all of them knew better. You already heard me say that. We need to be careful. Don't let our feelings play in this thing when it comes to doing what's right. We need to take our feelings out of it and evaluate this thing and make the right decisions. Yeah. So fast forward, David, his last charges to Solomon were pretty interesting. He gave him some great advice about being obedient to God. And let me just go ahead and read that part because I love it. David says, I'm about to go in the way of all the earth. He tells Solomon to be strong and act like a man and observe what the Lord your God requires. Walk in obedience to God and keep God's decrees and commands, his laws and regulation as written in the law of Moses. Do this so that you may prosper in all you do and wherever you go, and that the Lord may keep his promise to me. If your descendants watch how they live, and if they walk faithfully before me with all their heart and soul, you will never fail to have a successor on the throne of Israel. That's good advice for our kids, to be obedient to God and to follow God. That's the best advice you can give your kids. That is the best advice, to follow God, be obedient to God, obey his laws and decrees, do right by God, basically. And you're going to prosper in all you do. And hopefully the kids listen, right? We still got to pray for our kids. And so he also, these other charges, he said, deal with Joab. And what he's talking about was Joab killed 2 men innocently. He claims it was a time of battle, of war, but it wasn't. It was battle. It was done in times of peace. He's talking about Abner, and he's talking about Amasa. So he wants Solomon to deal with him. Shimei, he was so cruel to David. He think that because David didn't kill him, that all is good. David said, deal with him as well. And he told him to show kindness to the sons of Barzillai. Isn't that something? He said, he took care of me in mine when I was on the run from your brother Absalom. Those are his final charges, right? So then David eventually died and he was buried. And David had reigned over Israel for 40 years. 7 years in Hebron and 33 years in Jerusalem. So Solomon, he sat on the throne of his father David, and he was firmly established. Fast forward, Adonai. He approaches Bathsheba. This dude approaches Solomon's mother, put in a word, and first he tried to make her feel guilty. You know, I'm the oldest, I should have had the throne. Put in a word for me that Solomon let me marry Abishag. You know, Abishag was the one who kept David warm in his old age. So she's feeling all guilty. She goes to King Solomon. Yeah. And so, Solomon's not happy about that right there. He says, you might as well give Adonijah my whole kingdom. You might as well give him my whole kingdom. He was very smart. And so he called for Abishag, had called Benaiah and told Benaiah to kill off Adonijah, which he did. He killed Adonijah. He called Abiathar, because Abiathar was all in support of that, and he stripped him of being a priest, told him that he should die, but because he shared in his father's hardship, just go into your field, but he stripped him of high priest. Then he took, the priesthood was taken from him. Then he had him to Joab heard what was going on. Joab ran and hold on to the horns of the altar, and he would not leave. So he told Solomon told Benaiah, kill him where he stand, and killed Joab. Take the blood that he placed, that he caused, which was Abner and Amasa. Remove that blood from his family, from Solomon's family, from David's family. And so, Yep. And he took care of that situation. Shimei, he told them, live in Jerusalem, build a house in Jerusalem, and you are not to leave. If you leave, then you will die. Fast forward 3 years later, Shimei, his slaves run off. Shimei goes and chases them after them, brings them back. David approaches them. You know, we agreed. You agreed to it. And he said, he reminded him what he had done to his father. Benaiah killed him as well. I'm just saying, that mess come back. Don't think you get away with your wrongdoing. And David had to make hard decisions. Solomon had to make hard decisions. And as leaders, sometimes you have to make hard decisions. Now, I'm not telling you to go kill anybody, but you have to do right in God's sight. And sometimes you have to make those hard decisions to keep everything right. Sometimes you have to make those hard decisions. You have to ask God for the strength to do it. But there you have it, guys. That's day number 102. 1 Kings chapter 1 and 2. You have a God-filled blessed day.